Hello, and I'm Stu, or you may know me as SMTV. Today, we're going to be talking about the do's, do nots, and hacks for Download Festival. Before we get into it, the main thing that you need to do is remember that I have a voucher for you for your click and collect orders at Fat Frank's Camping Shop. If you go to fatfrankscampingshop.com and use the code SMTV10, that'll give you 10% off your total order for click and collect at Download Festival. Also, remember to follow me on all the socials. My Linktree is in the bio below. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I have also got the Trash Talking podcast where I've done some interviews with bands. Also gone through all the bands that you need to see on the Friday, Saturday and Sunday at Download Festival this year. And of course, we're trying to reach 500 subscribers before Download this year. So I'd really appreciate it if you did subscribe because everyone counts. Thank you, and let's get into it. So I put a message out asking you to submit your best do's, do nots, and hacks for Download Festival, and we've had quite a few, so should we get through them? Now, I am going to be looking at my phone, so if you see me looking over this way, that's what I'm doing. Up first, we have Ethan Brown. Don't put your wristband on the same hand you wipe with. We've had this one quite a few times. Obviously, I hope that's pretty self-explanatory as to why you don't want to be doing that. Think about which way am I going to lean? Yeah, I'll have it on that one, please. You'll figure it out. The next one is from Dan Browning. Do not take your best shoes to walk around the festival or weekend in. Now, I'd like to think this is a given, but you do see a lot of people knocking about in the brand new Vans. You see so many like scrappy trainers. You need to be wearing wellies. Just wear your wellies or wear your boots. You need a good quality shoe. Up next from Becky, we have got don't litter, don't disrespect staff, and don't crowd kill. So I can definitely get on board with the littering and disrespecting staff. Crowd killing, I think that's just, it's going to happen. It's unavoidable. But I don't think it happens so much anymore. But in terms of the litter, it's so easy just to take yourself a roll of bin liners, put them in the middle of your camp. Everyone can throw the rubbish in. And then when it's full, take a trip to the bins, drop it in there. You don't want to be crawling around like rats surrounded by your own rubbish. Disrespect staff, yeah, don't do it. They're there. Their sole purpose whilst they're there is to ensure you have a good weekend and to ensure you're safe whilst you're there also. A wave, a smile, a hello to the staff, it goes a long way. I'm sure they'll appreciate it. And if there's ever anything you need, questions that you've got maybe, if you approach them in a nice manner, be kind, have some manners, they're more likely to help you in every way that they possibly can if you are just being nice. So manners cost nothing, manners maketh the man. We all know this. Again, from Becky, do bin bags. There we go. Bin bags gets rid of your rubbish. Nice and easy. It doesn't take us rocket scientist to figure out that's how you get rid of your litter. Earplugs. I can definitely get on board with earplugs. I'm such a light sleeper. Even at home, if the smallest noise, it wakes me up. So imagine sleeping at a festival. I really do struggle, but for many years now, I've taken earplugs. It does really get cold overnight as well, so I always sleep in a beanie. So if you imagine the layers that I've got going on my head, I've got beanie, earplugs, it's pretty good sound dampening, to be honest. So I always have a good night's sleep now at festivals. You can probably get them on Amazon. Get yourself a good pack. Don't buy 2 pairs and then use them over the weekend, because that's pretty gross. And 2, if you buy enough just for your allocated number of nights that you're going to be there, if you lose a pair, you're screwed, basically. So comfy shoes. Yes, another one with the comfy shoes. Get some walking boots. You can go to Go Outdoors and get a pair of walking boots for like 20 quid maybe. There's regatta shops knocking about. Can't comment if Primark do them, to be honest, but just get yourself a nice pair that you can wear in, just go for a walk once a day or something like that, wear them in. You know you're going to be comfortable, you're going to be dry, you're not going to ruin your feet over the weekend. Next up from Jared, we have got wet wipes, Paracetamol and blue Powerade. So wet wipes are a given. The amount of wet wipes I imagine people are going to get through over the weekend is going to be into the hundreds of thousands. So wet wipes is an obvious one. Paracetamol, I'll put a full list of the things that I take in a first aid box. Really important to have your essentials there, because you never know when you're going to need a paracetamol or a throat lozenge or something like a tablet, like an effervescent tablet that you put in your drink, just give you a bit more life. First aid kit, really recommend sorting yourself a good one out. So that's a brilliant one. And then blue Powerade. Everyone's got their go-to energy booster. For Jared, it's a blue Powerade. I can get on board with that. Blue Powerade is OG, in my opinion. I don't think I'm going to be taking any energy drinks per se, because what I tend to do is I get the large Volvic, the strawberry water, the different flavours, and then I'll drop a Science in Sport effervescent tablet in there. That fizzes up, and that gives me all the vitamins, minerals, and energy that I need for the day. So everyone has the favourites, but for me, it's the effervescent tablet. You just can't beat them. Up next is Laura Nicholson. The squeezy cordial things are a lifesaver. Instead of bringing a full bottle, you can always have fruity cider. So I think what she means is the small Robinsons, or you can even get them at Aldi, I think, the non-branded ones. And it's like the really strong squash that you squirt into a bottle, and then, yeah, you've got squash. Mixing it with cider, that's a game changer, if you ask me. I've never thought of that. What I do for having a barbecue or something, I'll go and buy the dirt cheap cider that I wouldn't drink neat. It's like £1.50 for like 3 litres, the kind you'd have over a field or something. Well, quite fitting as we are going to be in a field. £1.50, and I use the moaning syrups, like what Costa and other coffee shops use. Just pour yourself a pint of that cider, mix some of that syrup in. Oh, it is gorgeous. And you drink it so quick, you just get smashed in no time. So it's a really good shout, the little ones. So instead of carrying around a big bottle of syrup, little squash mixer, that's a good shout. Thank you. We have got Dylan, and he says, put tin foil under your airbed/mat as it stops it deflating. So this is a new one for me. I've never considered this one. In recent years, I've veered away from the airbed and I've gone for like a proper pop-up bed. I suppose that makes sense because when it's cold during the night, your bed does just tend to deflate. When I used to use them, I'd wake up on hard ground and like my hips and my sides and just my bones would ache so bad. It's not a bad shout. And I've been thinking about this one. I was going to get an actual roll mat that's like foil lined, but I'm not looking to pay like 30 quid for, it'd have to be 2 because me and my wife are going to go and that we're going to put 2 single air beds down. I'm not about to pay 60 quid for foil backed mats when I can easily just chuck a roll of kitchen foil in. What's that going to cost me? Like £1.20 maybe? Dylan, I think I'm going to use this one this year. Hopefully it just doesn't rustle every time that we move during the night. If it sounds like someone's unwrapping a jacket potato in the middle of the night, don't come knocking. Next one is Vicky. Leaving a spare set of clothes in the car. Yeah, so if your clothes are going to get wet at any point in your bag and you've got no spares, you are going to be screwed, trust me. In conjunction to this one, I would definitely recommend getting you some Ziploc bags. You can get them on Amazon. They're just over A4 size and you can fold your clothes down, Ziploc the top, put it in your bag. Then you know, even if your bag gets soaked, your clothes are going to remain dry. You can put that into like bags if you know, if you can divide things into different bags. So I have one for socks, one for boxers, one for t-shirts, one for shorts, one for sleepwear. And at least I know, right, I've got my boxers on. I need some socks. Okay, they're in the sock bag. Instead of like rummaging around your bag. Because if you're rummaging around your bag, after day 1 or day 2, your bag is going to be such a mess. You're going to be like, oh, have I worn that yet? Yeah, sling that one. Whereas if you do it my way, it works a lot better. I recommend clothes bags. So you obviously can't take scissors or sharp objects, but Vicky has said here, take a set of nail clippers. So this is just if, for instance, there's any cable ties or you get a strap stuck around something and you need to cut it, but you haven't got anything sharp. I suppose it's a bit of a grey area, but I'm sure you'll be able to take those in with you. No problem. Okay, so the next one is from Lil Hayes. Hand warmers are good for in the sleeping bag when it's cold. I have heard this one, to be honest. What they're called? Warm hands, maybe? And it's like a kind of hot compress. When you take it out the packet, reacts with the air and then it goes nice and warm. So if it is a truly cold night, you can drop a couple of those in your sleeping bag and it's just going to keep you nice and warm, whether it's drop one by your feet maybe and then hold on to one. You're going to be nice and cozy. Personally, I just really wrap up. As I say, I sleep with a beanie on. Beanie, long sleeve, like a crew neck jumper and shorts. That normally does me. Socks as well. You can't go without socks when you're sleeping at a festival. Alex Toon has said, doesn't matter how hot it is during the day, it's always cold at night. Make sure you've got enough to keep you warm. Last year is a very good example of this. During the day, I'm sure we we're getting like 30s, 32s and everyone was sweating, everyone was burnt. But then during the night, it dips so much, especially after that walk back to the tent. You're back in the tent and it's freezing, trust me. And then obviously throw in there the fact that everyone was sunburned. Quite a few people probably had sunstroke, really had a chill on. In hindsight, you've got the time now. Don't get there and think, oh, I wish I took more to wrap up. Just pack enough, but don't overpack. I know that's quite difficult to do. Think about looking after yourself because you'll really thank yourself for it, trust me. Okay, Brownie1803 has said, make sure if you plan to play music that you download your playlists before getting there, since the internet is patchy at best. Yes, this is a definite one. I tend to take an old iPod Touch, and then if you use Spotify, I can't comment on the other services because I don't use it. You can download a playlist for offline streaming. So essentially all that does is it downloads it onto your internal memory, so you're not relying on your signal once there. Now, this is really brilliant, because the last thing you want is to put your music on and it's just buffering constantly. You just want to have the music there and enjoy yourself. So make it a fun thing. Set yourself up a download camp playlist, all of your favourite tunes. You'll have a great time. Rob has said, one of my hacks is to bring plenty of bin bags. Surprisingly versatile. You can use them as something to sit on in the arena when there's no chairs and the ground is wet, as well as obviously pick up your litter and maybe even use as a poncho. Slipping a couple of bin bags in your pocket for the arena isn't going to take up much space, is it? To be able to sit on the floor is a big bonus. If it's raining and you're going to be stood up all day, if you get in the arena at 11 o'clock on the Saturday and Sunday and it rains all day and you're not going to sit down again until you're back at the campsite, which is going to be, if you see all of the bands and the main stage, 11:30 till you get back to your campsite to sit down. So maybe a little bin bag in the pocket just so you can sit on the floor isn't such a bad idea. Rob, that is a good one, mate. Up next from James, do at least some passable listening to every band playing. Build an itinerary and then screenshot your Clash Finder or app list of bands. When there's no internet, you know where to be. I can get on board with this one, definitely. I've done this for a number of years now. So if you go on Clash Finder, I'll put the link in the description below. If you go on Clash Finder, it'll be like /Download Festival 2024. You can go on there, and obviously when the times are updated, when Download release their true times, you can go on there and you can select the bands that you want to see. It'll tell you what time to play. Essentially, it highlights each band in whatever colour you want. Something I've done in the past as well is screenshot it in portrait mode. I mean, you can do it in landscape if you want to. Set that as your lock screen. So then if you take your phone out, you're like, oh, so-and-so's on that stage. Let's get over there quick. I think that's a very good idea. James has also said, take spare tent pegs. They're dirt cheap. I don't think anyone would do this, but if you do take just enough tent pegs to do your tent and that's it, we've got issues. You need to be taking enough so you've got probably spare to do your tent twice over. Trust me. The ground is so hard at Download sometimes that you'll bend them like nothing. And once they're bent, one, it's quite difficult to bend them back. And two, they're already weakened at that point where they've bent. So just make sure you take enough, because the last thing you want to do is have multiple ropes that you haven't been able to tie down. The better job you do at tying your tent down, the better sleep you will have. Trust me. If you don't tie your tent down properly and it's loose, if it's windy during the night, which it very often is, your tent is going to be blowing and really like flapping about, and it's just going to keep you awake all night. So get your ropes nice and tight, get your tent set up so it's really rigid, and you're going to have a better night's sleep. Trust me. Final one from James is take a mallet. It's a great way to meet new people who didn't bring one. This is true. So mallet is a given, really. A lot of people forget a mallet. You can try all you want to try and put your tent pegs in with your boot, or I've seen people take the boot off and they're there whacking the tent pegs with the heel of the boot, but just take a mallet. You'll get it done in half the time. And as James says, it's a good way of meeting people as well. Before I took a mallet, you'd walk around your immediate vicinity and you'd ask people for a mallet. It's a good little icebreaker, and instead of just being, oh, hi guys, how you doing? It's, oh, hi guys, how you doing? I don't suppose you've got a mallet I could borrow. Oh yeah, no problem. And you come to learn really quickly that you're camping around some really nice, like-minded people. I mean, if you really want to, if you've already got a mallet, you can pretend you haven't and then go and take one of someone else just to make some friends. Next one from Will is take multiple cheap hats as they will inevitably be stolen by crowd surfers. I struggled to find a replacement last year due to my massive cranium. So I can't comment on crowd surfers stealing them, but many a time I've been wearing a cap, and my fault really. I wear my best caps to festivals and in the mosh or crowd surfing or whatever, it'll fly off. I mean, I've never lost one, never to be found again. I mean, during Knocked Loose at Bloodstock, I bought this brand new hat when we went to Cornwall, and it flew off during Knocked Loose. Oh, it's gone forever. And then the pit opened, and lo and behold, it was just sat there sticking out of the mud. So quick wash, and it was all good again. But multiple hats, if you're a hat wearer, I mean, I'd recommend taking a hat anyway. If you wear multiple ones, take multiple ones. That's completely up to you. Okay, so that's all of the ones that were submitted by you guys. So thank you very much. I'm just going to throw a few more in of my personal ones. So let's get into those. Going off what James brought up previously about putting your Clash Finder on your lock screen, something I'd recommend doing is when you've print screened that Clash Finder, if you go into your photos, edit, and then add a text box, you can actually add at the bottom, if found, ring, and then leave one of your friends' phone numbers. Essentially, if someone picks up the phone and all they see is your standard phone background, they're not going to know whose it is. It's going to get a lost property and you may never find your phone or get it back again. Whereas if you've got your Clash Finder, which is useful for yourself, and then you've got your friend's phone number underneath, whoever finds that is going to be, oh, okay, we'll ring them, and then you can rendezvous, you can meet up, and there you go. You've got your phone back, buy that person a beer, and everyone's happy. So this is a top tip from me. Next tip, we're going food related now. So I always take a cool box. We don't necessarily take fresh meat anymore for barbecues or sandwiches or anything, but I do always like to keep drinks and water cool. So when we get to the festival, we've got nice cold beers or water. Something that I started doing is if you buy your multiple packs of water, and instead of just putting them straight in your bag or lugging them or anything, take maybe 2 or 3, freeze them, and then either just as you're leaving the house or the morning that you're leaving the house, take those frozen bottles out, put them in your cool bag, and then you get to the festival, everything in your cool bag's nice and cold as if it's been in a freezer. And then also those frozen water bottles will obviously thaw out, they'll melt, and then they'll be ready to drink. So you're not carrying ice packs that are just going to make your bag even heavier. Now, something I have done this year, I'll just go and grab one. Give me 2 seconds. So, using exactly the same logic as the water bottle, this year I've bought frozen cocktails. We'll take those out the morning of the festival, slide them into the cool box, and then everything's going to be nice and cool. And then when this melts, you get a nice frozen slushy cocktail. So, top tip. Okay. My next top tip, it's still food related, I suppose, but it's stay hydrated. Trust me. Especially after last year, the amount of people that didn't prepare for extreme weathers, both ends of the spectrum. There were people like passing out and just heat, exhaustion. But the main thing you need to do is just drink enough water. It's as simple as that, really. There's water stations around. If there's one that's got too much of a queue, go to another one. Not once during last year did I have an issue where I couldn't get water. It's always readily available. Just do it. Get yourself a reusable cup. It's nice and easy. Let's be honest. Sticking with hydration, I really recommend getting yourself some hydration sachets. You can get these from Asda. Things like £5 something for 5. They are quite expensive considering it's like £1 a go almost. But if you just have yourself a bottle of water by your bed, drop your sachet in there, neck that. It doesn't taste the nicest, but if it's going to make you feel better during the day, you should definitely be doing it. So hydration it's quite difficult to say. Hydration sachet first. And then what I take is the Science in Sport effervescent tablets. Essentially, it's just like a fizzy tablet, like Barocca, if you will. Drop it in some water, neck that, and you'll feel right as rain. Up next is power banks. You can't get enough power banks, trust me. For me, I've done my research. I've found the ones that work. I'll put them in the link below because honestly, I want people to buy these because of how good they actually are. Last year, I took my GoPro and my phone. I did take 2 of these chargers, but I didn't even use the full charge of one. So that just shows how good they really are. So I'll link those in the description below. On offer, they're normally about £20. So go and grab one quick before it's too late. So the final little hack that I'm going to give you, it's a bit of a bougie one, but I like my tent to smell nice. So what I do is I get the little gel air fresheners, the lavender ones, especially because then you have a nice sleep at night. Once your tent's set up, rip the top off. I think I buy 2, one for the sleeping section, one for the porch. And then at the end of the day, when you get back, it smells divine. Okay. Maybe that's the RIP in me coming back, but this year in general, that is going to smell lovely. So thank you for taking the time to watch. I hope I've given you an insight on what's good to do, what's bad to do, and definitely some little tips, tricks, and hacks as well. If you've got any that you want to add, please do leave them in the comment section below. I'd love to hear some new ones, and if there's something that's going to help me out this year, of course, I'll give it a go.